r/AskReddit. What's a big industry secret that isn't supposed to be known by the general public? You use too much Dawn dish soap. That stuff is ridiculously concentrated. Obligatory highest rated comment edit. Don't tell me what I can top my flan with. That's the dirtiest sounding non-dirty thing I've ever read. Midway games at carnivals or fairs purposely let people win early on in the day. This way people carry around the prizes and advertise them for the rest of the day. Edit. Guess I should mention I volunteered at my local fair for several years. Midway game attendants use misinformation through internet forums to get people to play their carnival games early in the day, during their biggest downtime. I'm not sure what to believe anymore. Nearly every caller you hear on Top 40 radio is either an intern or someone else close to the studio. Everything is fake, especially that War of the Roses shit. Those prank phone calls are fake too. John Cena. Every programmer in the world occasionally writes a very bad code that sticks with the app program forever. Temporary fix file last modified, January 2009. If the first project I released is still out there anywhere, then it will still contain. Our printing department printed your t-shirts wrong, and right now they're filling in the missing ink spots with Sharpies. At Subway my manager never once bought real mayonnaise. The light mayo and the real mayo are both light mayo. Investigate those duckers. This is the shadiest scandal associated with Subway I've ever heard. Worse than the 11 inches foot long. Your children tell us nearly everything about what goes on in your home. Source: preschool teacher. Thanks for all the upvotes and replies. Cracking up reading some of these. A lot of people probably know that when a TV show goes into syndication that some scenes will be cut from episodes to make them slightly shorter, to fit in more commercials. What people don't know is that the show can be slightly sped up as well, to squeeze in just a little more advertising. Friends was the first one I noticed it on. They did it so much. Did the characters speak in high-pitched voices? I attended a songwriting workshop at Berklee School of Music, and Anna Wise, Grammy-winning songwriter, Kendrick Lamar collaborator, told the audience during a presentation that whenever someone magically blows up on SoundCloud or YouTube, that it's not authentic. A label will sign the artist in secret, and then suddenly boost their viewership tremendously to make it look like the independent artist did it on their own. I mentioned this in my post. Also, there are some clever tricks out there to make artists seem more independent than they are. The band Paramore was first signed to Atlantic, one of the biggest major labels ever, but their albums were released on indie label fueled by ramen in order to make them seem more punk or DIY. This was literally the post I was going to make. That's what happened with Fall Out Boy, and they realized how well that model worked, so they used it around Panic at the Disco, Paramore, etc. Free On Board was essentially signed to FBR, and then Atlantic bought most of the label, releasing TTTYG under it to appear indie. Paramore is a much more interesting story. The label actually only signed Hailey. They then realized she would make more sense in a band, got the band back around her, and then pushed them on FBR for the indie appearance. This is all when Vinny had less than Jake, FBR founder, left the label. He was going to do basically a tell-all in alternative press, but it never came out. There's a lot more to it, of course, but that's the basic Cliff Note version. Source: I know the owner of a once extremely huge pop-punk label in the early zeros. Edit: this clearly blew up, and a lot of people seem to have questions. You're more than welcome to PM me if you'd like. And TTTYG refers to Take This to Your Grave, Fall Out Boy's first label album. Printer ink cartridges are meant to signal that they're empty after a certain number of pages, even if they still have some ink left. Goddammit, all that ink I wasted. The TI-83/84 signing key, that was a real shitstorm. TL. Doctor, the public found out a way to install custom firmware onto TI calculators. TI lost their shit. I'm not smart enough for that article. Apple doesn't like it when you jailbreak your phone. Texas Instruments didn't like it when they jailbroke their calculators. Why you'd want to jailbreak a calculator I am not sure, but hey, there you go. Edit: over 100 responses saying to cheat or play games. I get it. Not sure if this is an industry practice, but a very popular online retail company in my country has no in-house web designers or any other IT staff beyond your generic networking techs. Anytime their website or backend systems need work, they simply advertise a permanent position and give the job of sorting out whatever they need done as a trial for the candidate. Once completed, they then inform them that the position is no longer available and send them on their way. They've been doing this for years. Edit. Well, that escalated quickly. Name and shame, so us devs can tell them to go swivel. Edit. This comment has enough exposure to now let me ask an unrelated question. I've got a plumbus. A mate got it for me. I've got no idea how to clean it. I'd also like to know a bit more about how it was made. The best way to deal with a request like that from a web company is to install a shutdown code into the software you are creating that automatically turns the software off or deletes it once a certain date is passed. If they hire you, you just remove the switch and proceed as normal. If they are just looking to screw you, they'll pull the fast one and be shitting their pants once it all goes kapoof. Protect your work. Edit. I'm getting a lot of PMs screaming that this is illegal, and I think the issue here is that this is being viewed different ways. In my part of the world, if you are giving someone a trial, they are submitting work as a sample. It is not expected to be used and should only be used to evaluate their skill. It seems that in other parts of the world the phrase trial is part of their probationary period that would be part of initial 60, 90 or 120 days of their hiring period, so that the company can properly evaluate their work while paying them to do so. In no uncertain terms should you consider installing time bombs or kill switches into your code while people are paying you for your work. To clarify for everyone reading, I am simply referring to work that is submitted as a sample, not work that you have been paid for or are receiving a salary for. Rocket science is like 90% plumbing. It's hardly brain surgery. On the other hand, brain surgery isn't exactly rocket science. Customer service text chat can see what you're typing in the box before you hit send. Please help me. The bad man is Comey, please help me. The bad man, I please help me. The please, hi. I had a problem with my order. Duck you. Is this real? A bottle of Windex is basically 95% water, 4% ammonia, and 1% blue dye fragrance. The most expensive part of the product is the bottle. So should I just go to Ace and buy ammonia and mix my own? Buy a tin of denatured alcohol and use that plus water for all your glass cleaning needs. Also any metal cleaning you need. It's basically the main component in razor cleaning station solution. Just wear gloves when dealing with it in the buff. Stuff's nasty. Edit. Lots of people mentioning vinegar. That's okay for Windows, but don't do that if you're refilling razor cleaning solution cartridges with it. Go straight alcohol for the grease breaking and evaporative properties. Do not dilute. Former Dunkin' employee here. We don't check the survey codes at the bottom of your receipt. Any random 5 digits in the space. You've got a free donut with purchase. Worked back when Sonic would give you a free Route 44 drink with a purchase. Then you got another free Route 44 drink with the receipt of your free Route 44. Such a great summer that was. Edit. Not in before 20 people say I have diabetes. RIP me, I guess. I had no clue. Ask to have the late fee waived. I literally cannot do anything with it until you specifically ask. So you have a late fee of $30 on this. Gee, that's a lot. Why is it so much? That's the late fee we have. I do apologize for that inconvenience. Well, I guess I'll have to pay it then. Okay, so your bill is $150. Do you realize how much that is? Yes, and I do apologize for the inconvenience. Well, can you do something about it? Yes, now I can because you asked. Please stop making me feel guilty that you paid your bill late. Edit. Since so many are asking, I work in insurance for business owners. I'm sorry I'm not the cell phone, bank, mortgage, hospital, etc. company. If it makes you all feel better, I'd waive all of your late fees. I had this happen with my power company. The bill was due 1 week before my paycheck, and in the summer months was always in flux, so I could never budget it properly or I would under budget it. It was my first year living in this particular condo, so I finally called up after having my service disconnected twice. Look, I'm having trouble meeting this payment schedule. Is there any way I can pay an extra amount to prorate onto next month's bill or something so I can offset the payments by a week? No, but we could just move your due date back by a week. Splug. Okay, that works too. You can put your own asparagus in water to make asparagus water. I make my own asparagus water all the time. Smells funny though. Sister made us hot ham water for dinner last night. People in service industries don't actually care about how your day is going. Now I am pretty sure she was flirting with me. I worked at a call center doing outbound telemarketing. I was pretty good at it and it fell on my shoulders to teach the new people. My number one rule was never to ask how their day is going. God forbid they tell you. Open bracket. And where the duck do you go from there? That was many years ago. I got a telemarketing call just last week and they opened up the call with how is your day going? I decided to lay into him with the most depressing shit I could come up with. 99% of the guys girls that you see in ads selling workout supplements don't actually take that crap and are high dosing anabolic steroids. Not only supplements but also trendy workout machines. You're not going to get washboard abs by doing 5 minutes on an elliptical a day. Can confirm. Have washboard abs from doing 6 minutes on elliptical every day. A stupid amount of porn companies are all owned by the same, generically named IT company, MindGeek. Does the illusion of choice really help out porn? Only about 20% of the people working here are actually properly competent and really understand what they're meant to be doing, let alone why. Which industry? Every industry. Source. Have worked in a variety of jobs temping across a huge range of industries over the last decade. Edited to add, this doesn't really apply to any kind of position that could be better described as a vocation than a job. It feels like it shouldn't be a secret, but a lot of people just don't get it. If you find yourself waiting forever to be seen in the air, that's probably a very good thing. We get the serious stuff back there pretty dang quick. Edit. For clarity's sake, a whole lot of pain doesn't automatically make something serious. A broken arm or something hurts like hell. But we're going to take the guy who's sweating and says his chest feels a little tight before you, because he might be dying and you definitely aren't. But also don't lie about having heart attack symptoms to be seen faster. When they find out the truth you will be sent back to the waiting room again and the time you wasted means someone else in dire need could be dying. One worse than this I've seen on a lot of pregnancy forums is women lying about bleeding so they can get an ultrasound at the ED just because they can't wait to see their baby. Makes my ducking head explode. Patient confidentiality just means your name isn't in the story, not that your story won't get told. A certain agitator, for privacy's sake, let's call her Lisa S. Dot. No, that's too obvious. UUH. Let's say L. Simpson. Grocery store bakeries do not bake the cakes they decorate. That stuff comes in frozen. I can't bake you a carrot cake. On top of that, most of the baking in grocery store bakeries is just pulling frozen pastries or muffins or whatever out of a box and panning it up, then putting it in the proofer oven. We don't really make things anymore. Edited for politeness. Friend of mine is a bakery girl for a supermarket. When I worked there, I'd spend half my shift on dead nights talking to her while she puts little frozen bagels or rolls out for the morning crew to bake. They all come in little frozen boxes nowadays. If something comes in fresh, it's a limited special and costs probably 3x as much. I worked in a meats department at a grocery store and people assumed we can in entire carcasses and cut them up. All our shit was pre-packaged just like the stuff on the shelves. We just took it out and made it look nice, then charged more for it. If you asked me to go cut you an X, I'd go in the back and take it out of the package for you. Sure, we did do some cuts but nothing crazy. If you want a specific cut, go to a butcher. When a movie trailer has shots that turn out to be missing from the actual movie, that's not because scenes were cut. Those shots never existed in the movie. The trailer didn't test as well as they wanted, so the studio inserted scenes specifically made for the trailer during additional photography. Or I missed Kylo Ren's lightsaber ignition scene in the movie. The fresh chocolate chip cookie scent that can be smelled outside of the Magic Kingdom bakery is artificial. It's piped out there to draw you into the bakery. They're called smellitzers. They're like targeted scent cannons. Disney also cranks the AC up in the shops in the wintertime, so it feels colder than it actually is, and you think to yourself, man, I better get that Mickey sweatshirt or I'm gonna be freezing all day. You'd think that wouldn't be worth the cost of cranking up the AC, but then you forget they sell their sweatshirts for $75 and actually own their own power plant. Monday's chowder is the weekend's seafood leftovers. Edit. To answer some questions. Yes, this is just one example of the overall theme in most restaurants. Zero waste. Any veg trimmings, chicken trimmings, beef bones get boiled to stock. Leftover entrees are usually tomorrow's open-face lunch Sammy special. Plastic containers are cut in half so everything is able to be scraped out. Second only to quality and consistency of food. Zero waste is the credo to live by. Edit 2. Never really meant this as a bad thing. More so something people don't realize with restaurants. To answer a few questions. No, I've never seen Big Short, so I don't really get the reference. Anthony Bourdain, but one of many chefs who will tell you this. He is, in my eyes, one of the best celebrity chefs out there. But any chef will tell you this. Repetition and time management are 3 key factors in growing as a cook. Yes. Corporate restaurants waste a lot of food. They are often so crazy, as well as make enough revenue from frozen processed dishes that at the end of the day it is cheaper to throw out than worry about legal ramifications. And last but not least, to the guy who said cutting plastic containers in half is worse for the environment, thank you. I'm still chuckling. I actually love this. Old burgers get put into chili, carcasses and scraps boiled for stock. Tiny bits of meat blasted from bones with a water jet and formed into a dough. It's all humans not wasting food and creating more tasty things for other humans to eat. As long as the products aren't spoiled or diseased. And I understand they sometimes are, especially when companies don't care. I'm fine with it. My sister was on The Biggest Loser. Jillian and Bob were there 2, maybe 3 days a week. They make it seem like they live there. I was a contestant on The Biggest Loser. This is a fact. We mostly spend our days working out by ourselves, or with sub-trainers that the celebrity trainers send in. Edit. Took her sister's name out of my comment. Not my place to throw that information out there. Juries can return a not guilty verdict even if they agree that the defendant broke the law, if they feel the law itself is unjust. This is referred to as jury nullification, and judges do not want jurors to know about it, even going so far as to hold people handing out literature about it in front of courthouses in contempt of court. Merlin Entertainments, the company that runs a wide variety of midway attractions like Legoland Discovery Centers as well as Legoland itself, pays most of their American employees less than Walmart. Oftentimes, employees love the job, but ultimately can't afford to keep it. This causes a near 90% turnover rate. This is just about everywhere in the entertainment industry. General rule of thumb. If the job is low skill and fun, it won't pay much because it's super easy to replace people. The other side of this same principle also explains why actuaries make so much money. As call center employee, I can assure you that all of our calls are recorded not for training purposes, but to protect our own asses. Companies have quarterly targets, including shops. So if you're buying, for example, a fancy watch, go in at the very end of the quarter and lowball them. If they haven't hit target for that quarter, then they're often likely to cut you a deal. Something they probably won't do at the start of the quarter. If they've hit target, just wait. Oh, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price. r/AskReddit. What makes you angry as soon as you see it? Mother duckine trash in the mother duckine woods. Pick your shit up, people. You don't own the nature. You only rent it. Beach. Unless it's porn. Forest porn is awesome. Sap sap sap, but safe for woods. Reddit hasn't seemed to like my dog Mr. Kibbles, so here's my last attempt. Duck off. 18. F. Super shy. First post. Does Reddit have any love for girls with amazing boobs and flawless skin? Shy. F. Ice time. Look at my gaping asshole. Vehicles turning without a goddamn signal. And switching lanes without a goddamn signal. https://www.youtube.com watch v=4JV tickle. Toddlers and tiaras. I have a strong desire to strangle pageant parents. How are baby beauty pageants not a form of socially accepted pedophilia? How? It's absolutely sick. I agree. Every time I think of a child beauty pageant judge, I imagine some 50-something dude who has a ponytail and his hand in his pants saying, "Oh yeah, I like this one," in Christian Bale's Batman voice. People that drive up the shoulder on the highway when there is heavy traffic. I've only ever done that once, though to be fair, the highway was almost at a standstill due to a massive accident. I was trying to get my wife who was in labor to the hospital, and a cop that was directing traffic told me I could due to my wife. Yet the glares I was getting from other drivers still made me feel like I was being a jerk, even though it was an actual emergency. Dude, driving your wife to the hospital while she's in labor is one of the rare opportunities when you can break all the rules of driving and feel justified. Embrace IT. If anybody mildly pregnant gets in my car, I pray for labor so I can say brace yourself and step on it while howling to get out the way to other cars. Pregnant women smoking. We're looking at you, Skylar. My contribution to this thread is actually just Skylar in general. Tailgating in heavy traffic. Look guy, there's literally nowhere to go. We're all in this mess together. I thought you meant setting up a grill and drinking beer. That would make me happy, not angry. I hate when the traffic is actually moving at a decent pace and we're all still really packed, and there's one Dow Checano who is weaving in and out to get into the faster lane. Seeing internet culture IRL that really should stay exclusively on the internet. LOL, she said, with her mouth words. I don't know what's worse, hearing someone speak each letter or hearing them sound it out. Lol. Dot. People being mean to waitstaff. A person who is nice to you, but is not nice to the waiter, is not a nice person. Flip side, waitstaff that make it obvious they hate waiting on you. I will tip the shit out of an attentive waiter or waitress, but if you are rude to me, you don't get shit. Black Eyed Peas, Super Bowl 45. Never forget, never forgive. That was the 9/11 of music. Literally Hitler. Auto-playing video ads on websites. More like autoplay videos that aren't muted. If you want me to leave your website immediately, that's how. Fat people giving fatty food to their children. They never had a chance. I just wanna run up to them and slap that burger or corn dog out of their hands. Zubats. I hold to this day that no more ducking Zubats should be a bullet point of the back of Pokemon Black and White as a selling point. Have some Woobats instead. People who don't clean up after themselves. One time at a Burger King, a man in front of me got his order to go. Once he got his food, he walked over to the fountain drinks and filled up his cup. As he filled his cup up, he took his burger out of the paper bag and threw the garbage on the counter and left. A lady standing near me saw the act too and also looked disgusted. I hate it when people, including my friends, leave their trash in a movie theater. You are going to have to pass a garbage can on your way out. Some minimum wage earning teen is going to be in here in 2 seconds, trying to clean up all this shit before the next showing. Can't you show him her an ounce of respect by picking up your garbage, which will take almost no effort? Also, people who defend their actions with well, they pay someone to clean it up. If I throw my trash away, they'll be out a job. Duck you, Mike. 12-year-olds making Facebook statuses about how wasted they were. 12-year-olds on Facebook. Fix that for you. Why are you guys friends with 12-year-olds on Facebook? My old cat used to stare me in the eye while she pissed on my jeans laid on the floor. That made me pretty upset. Passive-aggressive kitten disorder. Cured by cat mint and bacon. Pissing on someone's jeans is considered passive nowadays. Damn, I've got to step up my game. WHNPPL type leaks. Buying groceries this week when a woman with her 2 dirty kids in front of me bought $60 worth of cookies, chips, Coke and other junk food. Paid with a food stamp debit card, and when I got to the parking lot she was getting into the driver's seat of a brand new $35,000 SUV. My head about exploded. When I posted on Reddit that maybe food stamps need to be regulated more to make sure that the people that use them actually need them, I was demolished with down votes. This makes me rage too, even more so when people assume that everyone on food stamps actually needs them and isn't abusing the system, which is not the case. Edit. That car example? That's CrossX's example, not mine. If you think it's an unfair example, tell him that. People who use scooters power cars just because they are fat. Edit. I am aware that there are conditions when the person does have an illness or injury. Motorized scooters, even worse. People who nearly kill me on the road with a phone clamped to their faces. Like, OMG Shirley, I'll have to call you back. Some dumbass tried to cross the road at a pedestrian crossing. I can't stop for you. Like, I'm late for my facelift. And to top it off, they're always driving some huge ass SUV to ensure only you die in any accidents they may cause. Parents ignoring their children, especially if they are toddlers, it makes me rage inside. Especially when their children are running wild and tearing shit up. I mean, they're your kids. You have to raise them. Oh, yes. Little kids can get into shit, so ducking quickly and easily. Not only is it a huge annoyance to others, but it can also be ducking dangerous. Oh, God, I'm getting pissed now. I have a 2-year-old, and keeping her occupied is as easy as talking to her and letting her play with my phone. In instances where we're not able to get up and move around a lot, either that or crayons and paper, she's one of the most hyperactive toddlers I've ever known. But little ones are not that difficult to keep occupied. Twats on here posting shit like, how do I interact with women like they're human ducking beings? Don't go to r/seduction then. You'll be angry even faster. That subreddit is so shitty. I'm not against promiscuity, one night stands, or acting like a fool to get someone to like you. I dislike how they approach women as if they are a mark in some kind of scam that need to be tricked into making the bad decision to sleep with them. Their terminology is really similar to old con man terminology, and their tactics are also similar. Edit. Don't know how to spell. Animals being hurt obligatory. Edit. Just because I love animals doesn't mean I don't love to eat them as well. Maybe you find this hypocritical. That's up to you. 3. In the arms of an angel. Leak this if you create team. Previews for new Adam Sandler movies. Gang tags. A sign of blatant disrespect from cowardly cretins who demand respect themselves, yet can't make a move without 6 of their homies to back them up. I think gang tags are the human equivalent of dogs pissing on street lamps. To be honest, if they were colorful creative pieces in built-up grey urban areas, I'd probably actually like them. But they're not. They're always shitty, cliched, stupid tags that ruin the look of a nice little neighborhood, nearly always by some dumb, suburban hard-ass teenagers. People who chew with their mouth open. Everyone has the right to chew however they please, but it infuriates me when I hear or see someone chewing like that. For me, it's not the actual chewing with the mouth open, it's the smacking slobbery noise that usually accompanies the chewing. Oh goodness, how that gets me. Spitting on the floor inside of a building. Goddammit, yesterday I saw somebody spit a few feet away from the exit while leaving the building. People can be so disgusting. Edit. Fix disgusting. I was on my phone. I live in Austria, not in China. According to the comments, spitting is quite common in Asia, China, India. Here it isn't common. It does happen more often in metro stations and the like. I think spitting outside is gross, but better than in a building, and spitting in the grass isn't bad. It gets absorbed anyway, and if you spit by accident, that can happen. I don't think I have ever seen somebody spit in a building. I work at Walmart and have seen people shit on the floor. Littering. And when people are discussing ranting about something and deliberately misspell a name or turn it into some awful pun, it's like, show a little decorum. You don't like Obama? Fine. But why say Obama? You hate Romney? Okay. Why do you have to call him Mittens? Linux fanboys beaching about $$. Stuff like that just annoys the hell out of me. Fastest way to lose my respect for your opinion in a conversation. Edit. Mittens was more of a spur of the moment I just woke up and I'm on Reddit in bed example. I don't have anything against it. I just couldn't come up with anything better in my decaffeinated state. What do you have against Mittens Romnington? That sounds like the cutest name for a kitten. The damn good mood food commercials Arby's has. A lot of times I have the TV on for background noise while I'm browsing the internet or gaming. so I'll hear a commercial without actually seeing it. So, for the longest time, I thought those commercials were saying, "It's food food food." I thought, is this really what we've come to? This counts as a slogan? Arby's in general should be wiped out of existence and their recipe for curly fries should become public domain. My neighbor's dog barking all day at anything that moves on the street. Sorry, dude, my dog is racist and our neighborhood is of a darker persuasion. Without any prior occurrences, we were watching House and my dog would only bark at Foreman. Our suspicions were confirmed during the commercial breaks when an athletic equipment commercial came on. She's a chihuahua. I was like, dog, you are a minority also. Teenagers who act like hood rats who live in suburban neighborhoods. People being jerks to their kids. Seeing someone insult their child, call them stupid, or cuss them out. Please don't call your 6-year-old a duck up to his face. Is that too much to ask? Just really angers me. A kid is using all their interactions with you to build her perception of the world, and you're blowing it. People tweeting pictures of cancer patient children or kids with Down syndrome with captions such as "This deserves endless retweets," or "Like this photo if you wish Down syndrome wouldn't exist." Quit using people with disabilities or a debilitating disease for your worthless social media self-validation, you piece of shit. Truck nuts. Just why? Edit. Since people seem to think I'm talking about fans of trucks. No, I'm talking about those dumb ball sacks people hang on their rear bumpers. People who just need to be right all the time. I'm talking about people who just shit over other people's opinions because they don't agree with them. So, Reddit. r/atheism. Being atheist, it just annoys me. I don't give a duck one way or the other. Just don't force it on anyone. That goes for both sides. Slow driving on the left or middle lane of a 3-lane autobahn without speeding limit. By no means I want to force someone to drive faster as he feels comfortable, but damn it, that's what the right lane is there for. Staying on the middle lane because a truck is a mile ahead is no ducking excuse. In fact, it's against the law. In Germany, being stuck behind a shitty old minivan for minutes when in a hurry makes my blood boil. Then as you pass them and take a glance over, you see that they are on their cell phone. Holy crap. Animal abuse. Hey Reddit, my girlfriend doesn't think she's attractive. What do you think? Opens thread to find girl who looks like a model, find a fire and die in it. Children without manners. I have 2 children and the only thing that I give a duck about is that they are well mannered. They're going to do whatever they want anyway, so I do my damnedest to instill good values and keep my fingers crossed on their decision making. But if those kids don't say please and thank you while dealing drugs in prison, I'm going to be pissed. Stupid posts on Facebook. I can forgive some misspellings, but those grammatical atrocities that are farming likes from other stupid people with sob stories, or 90s kids only posts, pushes me to the brink. Lick to sav dis bby zoxoxoxo. Also subscribe to me, I know. Never. One of the worst ones I've seen was a pic of the Twin Towers and a caption saying only 90s kids will remember this, and it had around 20,000 likes. Edit. Here's the pic. People smoking in cars with children in car seats, with the windows up. Duck them. 16 and pregnant. Bad parking jobs. Get the duck out of the fire lane. Relevant. Unemployable council class chat scum referring to their benefit handouts as getting paid, then going off with their money and wasting it on booze down at the one stop. Also, this road is an urban clearway, it says no stopping, there's red lines on it. Why the duck have you stopped to have a chat with someone and now traffic is backing up behind you? I'm imagining you are so angry that your tea is spilling out of its cup and your monocle falls out of your eye, while your mustache twitches in rage. Bad parenting. People sagging their pants below their ass. People tailgating me when there are more cars in front of me, like doing that is going to make me go faster. Reddit. Should imply this is on single lane roads. Young kids who are extremely overweight because their parents are ignorant about what they're doing to their kids or just don't give a duck. People with no spatial awareness in supermarkets. The sort of people who put their trolley in the middle of the aisle so you can't get past. Or just leave it there unattended while they run off to get some other shit. Usually they're talking loudly on their phones and ignoring their duckwood kid who's screaming whilst sat in the trolley. Duck those people. Guys berating, manhandling, or hitting their girlfriends. XDDDDDD, DDDDD, comma, seriously, why? Extreme laughter, extreme OP, extreme sad, extreme. Christian fundamentalists arguing that religion should be mixed with politics, education, healthcare, etc. Society should be evolving, not devolving. Animal abuse. Obese parents turning their kids obese by feeding them inappropriate food. Native English speakers not knowing the difference between your and your, there and there, and so on. I learned the difference when I was 13, and I wasn't even born in a country that speaks English. Animal cruelty. I become insta angry. I will usually see a link on r/videos with a title such as "Scumbag beats his dog" and I'll want to click on it so bad. I will usually make it 2 seconds into video and start to close it. If I haven't seen any animal abuse by then I will pause the video and skip along frame by frame until I see it begin. Then I will close everything and sit in my seat mad at myself for watching it. I'll start shuffling around in my chair in extreme discomfort and begin to think about how I can possibly get into a fight with the culprit. It's even more infuriating when I'm watching something funny like South Park at night and during the commercial break a WWF advertisement will cannon onto my television and immediately show me neglected horses or some shit. Well, now I'm thinking about people who own horses and treat them badly and how I can fight them somehow. South Park is ruined. Who the duck hurt that horse? The end credits of Game of Thrones. Wrong, the last page of the books because it means you need to wait another 5 goddamn years. When a kid is acting up in a public place, and all the parent does is snap their fingers a few times, like that really does anything. American Neonazis, the Klan. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price. r/AskReddit. People whose first relationship was very long term. What weird thing did you believe was normal until you started seeing other people? I texted my then new girlfriend about where I was and who I was with about every 30 minutes. After the 3rd time, she told me that she didn't need to get updates on what I was doing, and to just let her know when I got home safe. I remember feeling almost a physical weight being lifted off my chest because I didn't have to worry about my girlfriend freaking out if I didn't update her. I learned what trust felt like that night. I am actually amazed at how many married couples are this way. I just thought it was common sense to trust your spouse is doing what they said they were doing. No point in being crazy until there is a reason to be. In the words of my shrink, worrying doesn't change the outcome. It applies in a lot of situations. Edit. I will forward all the gold and platinum to my therapist. I'm sure he would be pleased to know I spread his mind virus. Thanks. He had a birth defect which left him with 2 holes in the tip of his penis. I thought one was for pee and the other was for sperm. My next boyfriend was very confused when I asked him why he only had 1 hole. Edit. Thanks for all the medals. Whoa. I'm also embarrassed by how many people have read this. And since there's too many comments to reply to but I kept getting asked, my school's sex ed program was separated by gender. So I only learned female anatomy. Dongs aren't pretty so I never went out of my way to look at one up close until I met my boyfriend. Haha, this is actually funny. A lot of these responses are extremely dark. At the end of my dong is a hole, he declared. I've looked in the mirror, I've gazed and I've stared. I've glanced at the place on the pecker below, and that's how I know that I know that I know. My penis. As any can see, it ends in a hole that's as cute as can be. It leads to a place, to a space in the skin, and when you can view it, it's time to begin. Remember the hole in my member? He spoke. He turned to the nearest and dearest of folk. A hole in my penis, he whispered with pride. The other was frowning. Just one, he replied. Your partner should actually make an effort to spend time with you. You shouldn't have to surprise them to spend any time with them. This makes me sad. Yeah, it sucked. I enjoyed the time I did manage to spend with her so much though, that I couldn't end things. I don't blame her though. She was struggling with depression and it was difficult for her to find the energy to do anything. That's some girls in a relationship don't like to kiss as often as others. I'm just talking about pecks when IGF gets home, etc. I always enjoyed a hello kiss, but I guess some girls don't. r/herpes free since 73 with a username like that I would have also been a little hesitant to get a peck. Why? They've literally said they haven't had an issue in almost 50 years. I would lick the side of my first girlfriend's face like a dog and she loved it. My second girlfriend slapped me when I tried it. Edit. My first gold. Thanks. I was not expecting so many people would relate to that. For me, you won the competition here. This taste is the taste of a GF. Giorno Giovanna. It wasn't super long term. Only about a year, but when you're in high school that's fairly long term. My ex was a very clingy dude. Sweet, but would follow me around every social gathering and get jealous of me spending time with my friends. When I started dating the guy who is now my husband, I remember looking around at a party early on of mostly my friends that he hadn't met before and I couldn't find him. I asked someone where he was and he was out by the fire with a group of people chatting and hanging out. I was astonished that we could just go our separate ways in a social setting and that was totally fine. We didn't have to be attached at the hip the whole time. Edit. When I say he would follow me around, I literally mean he never left my side. And these were parties and things where he knew everyone as well. At one point my friend was upset, so I went into a bedroom with her and another friend to talk to her, and within 5 minutes he came into the room, and even though this was obviously private he just stood in there. And I did tell him multiple times that we didn't constantly have to be beside each other. If you and your partner like to hang out at parties that's fine, but it was suffocating to me. He was jealous of my friends and complained when I would make plans with them. Honestly, we were young and he's probably a totally fine dude now. We were just not right together. As a clingy guy trying to not be, what would you say is the appropriate amount of time to be with your partner v friends at a party? Don't think of it as appropriate amount of time. If you are hanging out and chatting along with your girl, that's cool. But if you are just standing there while she is talking, that is being clingy. This is morbid, but I thought it was normal to argue every day. I thought all couples have their bickering and it was just a regular thing. I was astounded when I went into my next relationship and actually got on with the guy and went weeks and weeks without having any issues. It always felt like the bubble was going to burst. Goes to show, don't stay in a relationship just because you've already invested a ton of time. You get one life. Spend it with someone who makes you laugh every day. My parents' relationship was like this. When I met my current partner, I told him I would never get married because I don't see the point in being stuck in an argument for the rest of my life. His response was, okay, well, if we communicate, I don't see why we would be always arguing. I didn't get it and didn't want to get into it. One day we were communicating and the conversation was intense. Not even arguing, raised voices. And he said, let's take a break from this. I'm feeling frustrated. And I just sat there dumbfounded like, what? You aren't gonna yell at me? Glad you found each other. People's love languages are all different. It's especially jarring when you have a lot of experience doing things a certain way, and then finding out that isn't what somebody else needs. It can take some work to figure out what's inherent to yourself and what was learned from your partner. This is super valid and I feel like it applies to other types of relationships too. Learning about different ways people express affection for each other and why they might do it that way was a big help for understanding my mom. For me, I express and understand affection by spending time with someone. But my mom never really wanted to spend much time with me, and didn't appreciate me trying to spend a lot of time with her. It made me feel really unimportant and a bit unloved at times. But then I came across this site talking about different kinds of showing care, and found one that fit her perfectly on it. Showing affection by doing things for someone. Not with them, but for them. To make their lives easier. My mom had been trying all that time to show she cared by doing little things for me all the time. Things I often hardly even thought to notice. And that was probably why she would get so upset when she asked me to do some small thing for her and then I forgot. Me forgetting to do that small and seemingly unimportant thing probably made her feel unimportant and unloved. Figuring that out has really helped me understand her. I thought most guys liked having their nipples played with because my first ex did. My second boyfriend was so confused when I started licking his titty lameo. Bro, I love when girls do this. My first girlfriend never did, so I didn't think it was normal. Then my second girlfriend did this and would also lick inside my ear when we were banging, which is like another G-spot, lol. I would never think of these things. I think most women inherently assume this because it feels good for their nipples to be played with. And I think a lot of relationships have a conversation somewhere along the lines of what you had with your second BF. She made me believe the old TV tropes of women never wanting sex. I had to work my ass off to get her to give me some action. The next girl I had was just ducking, amazed that I didn't just ask for it when I wanted it. The bewildered look on her face when she finally asked, "You realize I'm horny too, right?" Man, that hits too close to home for me. Hopefully not too close to home. That sex should last more than 45 seconds. I dated a guy for a year and never orgasmed once. He gaslit me into believing that the slight good feeling I felt, like 2-3 stages before coming, was what an orgasm was. I never understood why some girls were so into sex because it was so unsatisfying for me. The next guy I slept with showed me what orgasming actually feels like. Edit. For all of the people who are mad that I blamed him for not knowing what an orgasm is, I didn't share the whole story. BC, I didn't think I would have to. Yes, gaslit was the right term to use because he literally yelled at me when I finally admitted I didn't think I had ever had an orgasm. He told me that I definitely hadn't, made me think that I was crazy. He even told me while we were ducking when I was orgasming. BC, he said guys could feel it and tell. He also told me I was a squirted despite any squirting to prove this. He literally left me so confused until I hooked up with a close guy friend and he made me realize it wasn't me. He actually told me once, if you want it to feel good for you, you have to be on top and set the rhythm for what works for you. Keep in mind, I was 18 and naive and inexperienced. He was 36 and totally took advantage of that. Editing this since it is getting misunderstood. The point I was making was that he would be done in seconds and he'd put the blame on me for not getting any enjoyment out of it. That every time was essentially a quickie. Almost a whole decade of nothing but 5 thrusts and then blast off. After that relationship ended, I felt like Jasmine on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world. Peter, we just had sex. Tell M. Bonnie. Yes, we had what Joe considers sex. Same. At first I thought his personality made up for it, but I was wrong about that too, lol. My first GF used to squirt, open bracket. Nothing to do with me, that's just how she was. After say, 5 minutes of foreplay she'd be squirting all over the place, and then for the rest of the session she'd be extremely wet. Fast forward to my next relationship, I was like, damn. You broke. Was fingering her profusely, doing all sorts of things and was getting frustrated because I thought she wasn't into me, or I was doing something wrong. Edit. Goodbye inbox. Also, yes, okay, I get it. It's pee. It didn't smell like pee, and or look like pee, but whatever, it's pee. But it was also almost 17 years ago. We still talk to this day though, so I must send her over and let her know that her PP is internet famous. I found out I was a squirter years after dating people. Started for me when I was like 24. 22 for me. The guy just asked if I was. I said no. He tried and voila, it would not have crossed my mind at that point. I tried to change her. That was my emotional insecurity. My bad, Melissa. You're not my ex. But my name is Melissa. I still have to regularly deal with my ex who maintains that I alone was the cause for the demise of our relationship. Seeing this was weirdly cathartic. I'm a Melissa too, and I understand this, and have lived this. A lot of girls like to duck. I left a GF of 3 years. A girl I thought I was going to marry, over this. She just had an almost zero sex drive. Even from the beginning, she thought 3-4 times a year was plenty. In the end, I decided life was too short to have sex once every 4 months and dealt with over a year of heartbreak, instead of a lifetime of craving sex I wouldn't get. Before I left, I remember trying to soothe myself with, hey, once you are like 70, it won't even matter. My ex-husband always turned me down when I wanted sex. We only had sex when he wanted, once or twice a year. Just a SFW remark. her father hating me. I just thought this was normal. But in the subsequent 3 relationships, last one turning into a marriage and family, the parents were kind and I couldn't believe that is possible. Sorry, I don't have any NSFW things. All the girls were very open to experiments. Same thing for me, man. Granted, it was a high school relationship and I figured he just hates me cause I'm a high school boy and he knows what high school boys want. But no. The level of malice he poured out on me was far beyond typical father protecting his daughter levels. She eventually dumped me after he threatened to kick her out of her family. In a happy relationship now with an awesome girl whose whole family is a ton of fun. So it worked out for the best. I never quite understood the whole overprotective dad trope. Surely these men were all young boys once and understand the lengths they would have gone through just to get some tail. Why try to take the role of a gatekeeper forever protecting your daughter's virginity with shotgun in hand when you can just educate them about safe sex practices before they start dating? It's one thing to dislike the type of guys your daughter chooses to be with because they're punks. But it's another thing to dislike all guys ever because nobody will ever be good enough for my precious little girl. This is a little strange, I guess. Sort of an individual thing. But, with my first 2 relationships, 5 years total between the 2, I never realized how cuddly I am. I used to hate being touched or kissed, and I never realized that wasn't just the way I was. I even thought I might be asexual, but deep down I knew that wasn't the case. My fiance used to be the same way, but when we met, somehow things just clicked into place. I'm the same way. I used to hate all signs of physical affection, but now with a romantic partner I can't get enough of it. I've done a lot of reflecting on this aspect of myself and the best conclusion I can come to is the fact that my parents never showed me physical affection. I didn't think much about it until one of my exes described how much he used to love family cuddle piles while watching movies together. I sort of thought it was normal to have parent siblings that never hugged, kissed, cuddled, pet you, but now I'm not so sure. One day I hope I get as lucky as you and find someone who can cuddle and pat my head. Abuse. I thought occasional abuse was just, you know, part of the mix of things. Sometimes you get good times. Sometimes you get attacked. I was just lucky I was big so she couldn't do much damage. I felt for other guys who probably had it way worse. It was eye-opening to find out random physical attacks weren't just part of the excitement. Girls be crazy, right? Everybody knows that. Emotional and you know, they beat you and draw blood sometimes. Whatever. My friend had a very similar story. I was driving him home. He had recently had a fight with his girlfriend. Again, after multiple incidents of his belongings being intentionally broken and even her pulling a knife on him. And yes, she was his first serious relationship. I'm sorry, but you really need to get out of this. This isn't okay. Double quote him. Well, sometimes this stuff happens. No relationship is perfect. My parents fought all the time and still stuck together. You gotta work on it. Double quote me. My mom got punched by her ex-husband exactly once and divorced him over it. 2 years later she met my dad. And in the following 35 years they've barely even raised their voices against each other. He got real quiet. Ultimately he moved to another city to cut off contact from her completely and is a changed person now. A lot happier. Glad you talked to him. So many wouldn't. So many don't feel like they can or that's it okay. And so many people would get offended or wouldn't listen if you did talk. Glad you talked to him. My ex put her happiness on me, making it my responsibility. Would demand I stay around and cut my work hours back and then be upset when we wouldn't have money to go out. Every time I would try and leave I was coerced with sex to stay. Because I was young and stupid. After 8 years I had enough. I moved 5 states away. Had a chain of bad relationships that ended. Took some time to work on myself and I am now engaged to an amazing woman I can communicate with, share feelings about issues and who values a healthy relationship. Damn, you went straight to polygamy. Good on you, dude. I straight up snorted, I won't even lie. Being cowed into an open arrangement equals normal. Him introducing me to friends while hanging out or going to parties and then him telling me later in the evening after the ice had broken that they were actually the girl's he was ducking. Capitulating to his insistence that we continue to hang out even though I was uncomfortable with knowing this new information equals normal. Him making unwelcome and uncomfortable comments to other women I was friends with in front of me to attempt to orchestrate threesomes that I was not okay with equals normal. If you love me, you'll chase after me equals normal. If you love me, you'll leave FaceTime up at all times so I can see what's going on in your dorm equals normal. If you love me, you will not show any sad or mad emotion because it ruins my mood equals normal. And let me guess, he wanted to keep you chained up so you wouldn't cheat on him? Sounds like a piece of shit who uses terminology to excuse himself. As someone who's definitely somewhere on the poly spectrum, I find it completely abhorrent. Part of wanting freedom to play around is having to have restraint and making sure everyone also wants it and isn't just permissive but happy about it. Porn is not a documentary, being used as a sex doll, contorted into uncomfortable positions, and pounded until you bleed, can't stand up, or just break down crying from the pain isn't normal. Nor is anal sex a necessity. We were both virgins and he had major porn brain. I thought I was bad at sex and would never be able to have a positive experience with intimacy until I finally left him and was with my second boyfriend. I'm okay now. But wow, was that a horrible person to lose my virginity to. The first and second time I had sex, I was in so much pain, crying during sex, bled for days afterward. The third time, I tried with a different guy. When he came over, I had paper towels ready next to the bed because I thought for sure I was going to bleed. I ended up dating that guy for about 4 months and never felt any pain or bled at all during sex. One time I told him to stop and he immediately pulled away, and I was expecting him to not stop like the first guy did. I was really surprised. It completely opened my eyes to how sex is supposed to be and how much that first guy messed me up. First guy who didn't stop when told to stop equals rapist. Suicide threats, black eyes, self-harm manipulation, social media and phone stalking rights, remove female friends from social media plus life. Sex as a currency, must respond to texts within 20 minutes or the result is one or more of the above. Finally got out of that one after 3 long years, learned a whole lot, helped to build my now very strong relationship though, so hey, take the positive and leave the rest, am I right? Wow, we must have had the same ex. Glad you got out of that situation. It's a stressful trap to say the least. Psychological abuse. I have a physical reaction now when my current partners are nice to me when I do something he would have berated me for hours and locked me in my room for. Like, I get a panic attack because my partners are nice to me when I drop a glass, or got laid off, or forgot to unload the dishwasher, and then they don't bring it up every time they're irritated with me. My ex was still yelling at me 14 years later for shit I did when we first started dating. Shit like I forgot to pick up his laundry from the floor or bought the wrong brand of bacon. At the end there, the lectures lasted hours as he recounted 14 years of offenses. My current partners, they don't throw shit in my face that I did the day before. The dissonance is crazy. I knew the other abuse wasn't normal, but my stepdad is the same way with my mom, so I had no idea. I just thought it's how men are. Don't know. Never saw anyone else. Married her. Edit. As a neat side effect, we do tons of stuff I am sure other people would think is really weird. Thank you for this glimmer of happiness in an otherwise depressing thread. My ex basically taught me that it wasn't okay for me to be upset about things. Every time I would get my feelings hurt, even when I was upset about something completely unrelated to him, it was somehow flipped around, so I ended up reassuring and comforting him. That shit really messed me up, and I basically had to relearn how to be vulnerable with myself. He also had a very solid plan of how he expected me to live my life. Basically his main goal for me was to have kids and be a good housewife. Yikes. On the bright side, nowadays I'm happily engaged and my fiance treats me with so much love and respect. He's supportive of my dreams and we are able to lean on each other in times of hardship. Actually thinking about the future was a big thing. Since we got together in high school, there always seemed to be this idea in the back of my head that this was going to end eventually, and because of that I never really looked at anything like a future together. When we graduated it was just too comfortable to break up, and even though things were fine enough to stay, it was a drag that never ended because I just never really thought of them as a person I wanted to be with forever. It's hard to say when exactly I stopped loving her, but it was a relationship of comfort and convenience more than anything. And when she eventually cheated on me and broke us up, it was still just so easy to get back together on and off after that I could feel myself falling back into a commitment I didn't want to be a part of. Now it's wild to actually think about a future with my partner. I genuinely look forward to stuff like maybe living together, or getting married and seeing the world and all that romantic stuff. Before everything was more or less convenience. But I had no idea how great it was to actually look forward to potential life events with someone else. Not me, but the girl I'm currently dating said that her first long-term boyfriend would stare at himself in the bathroom for an hour or so before going to bed each night. Was your girlfriend dating Patrick Bateman? Edit. Thank you for the gold. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.